Atypical Development of Humpty Dumpty, The Scrambled Egg, by Paul Boner. This is the story of an egg called Humpty Dumpty, and how over time he began to understand what shaped him, what cracked him, and what it took to start putting himself back together again. Along the way, Humpty encountered counseling, reflection, and theory, learning to make sense of attachment, ADHD, shame, masking, identity, and Maslow's hierarchy of needs. In an attempt to understand who he was and how he related to other eggs, Humpty shelled out for an attachment-style test. Attachment theory, developed by John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, suggests that early bonds with caregivers shape how eggs relate to each other later in life. The results described Humpty as warm, social, sunny side up, and easy to connect with, someone aware of his feelings and able to express them. The kind of egg who builds deep, meaningful, long-lasting friendships. Bowlby and Ainsworth would call this a secure attachment style. Because of his secure attachment style, Humpty could express himself. He did not fear closeness. He trusted that others would be there when needed, and he incubated long-lasting and meaningful friendships. Romantic relationships, however, were a different matter indeed. For Humpty did not just fall in love like most secure attached eggs. He developed Limerence. Limerence is an intense, involuntary preoccupation with another egg, marked by idealization and daydreaming about a future that might not ever be. Think Ross's feelings for Rachel in the first 2 seasons of Friends, or Big Ian's feelings for Martin in the final 2 seasons of The Chuckle Brothers Go to Stormont. And with rejection, sensitivity, dysphoria in the mix, it felt safer to prolong the fantasy than to spend eternity in the dreaded friend zone. Through later reflection and learning more about ADHD, Humpty began to understand this pattern differently. Limerence, for him, wasn't a failure of attachment, but a collision of hyperfocus, emotional intensity, and heightened sensitivity to reward, all common ADHD traits. For years, ADHD left Humpty feeling eternally scrambled, carrying a quiet but persistent sense of shame for failing at what seemed like basic egg tasks. When he finally received a diagnosis, it brought clarity, but also grief. Grief for the life he imagined he might have lived had he known sooner. This was one of the first times Humpty encountered what counseling would later help him name more clearly: core beliefs shaped by shame. From an early age, Humpty had a knack for performing. His impressions made aunties and uncles chuckle, earning praise and approval. That validation felt good. That's good dopamine. And it taught him that being funny made him acceptable. Carl Rogers described this as conditions of worth, the belief that love and acceptance are conditional on meeting certain expectations. For Humpty, those conditions formed an identity. He became the funny egg. Humor won him approval with his peers, stopped the bullies from giving him a beating or a whisking, and helped him belong. Through learning on the course of external influences on our behavior, Humpty was reminded of Louis Althusser and the idea of ideological state apparatuses, the institutions that shape identity and belief through culture rather than force. For a little egg growing up in rural Donegal in the 1980s, those influences included Catholicism, Catholic schooling, the GAA, and marching bands. Falling outside that worldview risked being labeled odd or difficult, labels Humpty internalized and later reframed as independent, questioning, and creative. ADHD, for all its challenges, also made Humpty resistant to indoctrination and BS. He learned to exist on the margins, acceptably odd, shaping core beliefs about himself as different, but not too different. Although by no means a pariah of the village, Humpty still longed to get the flock out of there. So he fled the nest. And then came the fresh hell that was adulthood. Even with his core beliefs that he was funny, creative, and independent thinking, adult life hit Humpty hard. Challenges piled up, shame resurfaced. No matter how hard he tried to push them down, other core beliefs resurfaced, such as that he was incompetent, lazy, and immature. His mood dipped. His anxiety rose. As the schoolyard gave way to the overstimulating chaos of nightclubs, Humpty found a magical potion, brewed by the monks of Buckfast Abbey. It transformed him into mad crack Humpty, armed with crazy antics and dancing like nobody's watching. This persona wasn't just performative. It was masking. A way of tolerating social anxiety. A shell protecting the soft yolk inside. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is the idea that you must secure the basics: safety, belonging, self-worth, before you can become who you're capable of being. Through resilience and hard work, Humpty began to meet those needs. He felt safe, secure, stable. It seemed he was moving in the right direction, climbing the wall of needs. Or so he thought. A rot had set in at the core. The security he'd built wasn't solid. It was an illusion. And then, whoosh, the platform gave way. He fell back through the layers until Humpty Dumpty had a great fall.
Emotional, damn it!
Through counseling and learning, Humpty began to put himself back together again. He developed stronger boundaries, learned to be kinder to himself, and started to understand shame and the cognitive distortions, like mind reading and catastrophizing, that had shaped his fall. This time, as he climbed Maslow's hierarchy of needs, his foundations were more secure, and the external influences on his identity were self-curated. And although the cracks from his fall remain visible in his shell, Humpty continues the ongoing process of putting Humpty Dumpty together again. Larry Hagman.